Welcome to Live Trading, going over today's SPY recap and live analysis. So first thing that I explained in the morning in the pre-market brief for Discord members was to be watching for the purple buying continuation, and if we saw that, look for blue and yellow controlled selling algorithms on the way up. So you can see right here in the morning, we had an initial push right off the open, but from there we were never able to build anything more. Even right here, we were never able to see something like this and that continuation, and instead we start to see once again this rejection like we keep having near this 563 area. And the key level to the downside today was that point of control from Friday. You can see right here, this is an important level at 560.77, and we're able to form this head and shoulder off of it, and we get some downside right here, but we're unable to lose the 5-day moving average right here, and we stay just afloat throughout the entire day. Now, there were great shorts to the downside before this with the orange selling continuation. We have this handle right here, a head and shoulder, and another inverse cup, which I will show you on the 1 minute. You can't see it on the 30, but you had to understand the concept of this 5-day moving average, which I explained in the video over the weekend. If you haven't watched that, you can here, but it continues to trap people, and people continue to short it heavy without the actual loss and structure saying that that is going to happen. Now on the 1 minute chart, going over the algorithms and microstructure, you can see in the morning we had this initial push up, but we were unable to break above this level right here, and we formed this double top. Now what you would want to have seen is this inverse head and shoulder. See that continuation, right? Once again, that blue and yellow maybe, and another inverse head and shoulder, and from there continue. However, we were unable to do that, and anytime we saw buying, we saw sellers, and there was weakness. We could not form this inverse head and shoulder, could not close a cup and see that. Now, after we closed the gap from Friday, right here, I explain you have to be watching still for this inverse head and shoulder. If we want to, you will see that happen. Otherwise, we can start to close that inverse cup down to that 560.77 level, and you see how that happens right here. Now from there, I explain you have to be watching for this right here if you are looking for the reversal, and if that happens, you will see this cup close. Otherwise, you can be watching for this white algorithm right here and this head and shoulder, as well as this inverse cup and handle that you see. So once we close that inverse cup, you once again see that white algorithm and another head and shoulder. Now right here, I was also explaining on the 30-minute chart, you have to be looking for this handle if we were building it off of this cup right here, but you would need to see this inverse head and shoulder like that. Otherwise, you can continue looking for this head and shoulder as well as this inverse cup that we form right here, and we do get some selling continuation. So with that inverse cup, right, you see right here, we close it and then we form this handle off of that 560.77 level, and once again another inverse cup, and you can see once again that other head and shoulder in there. Now we were unable to break below that 559.78. What you would have needed to see, like I explained here, was this head and shoulder below this 5-day moving average, and if we form something like that, then we could continue seeing the downside. Otherwise, you had to be paying attention to all this liquidity that we had been building right here for this inverse head and shoulder, which you can see we start to head up. Now, with this move up right here, we were unable to grab this shoulder of liquidity, and we're starting to taper right here, which you can see. And from there, I explained that you would need to be seeing this inverse head and shoulder, building this larger handle, and if we wanted to see that continuation, I also explained that there was no reason to short as long as we were above 560.77, but you can see right here we start to form this head and shoulder along with that tapering right here. So there's a couple of entries, but even here you want to see it below that 560.77 right here. So once we grabbed this shoulder and we close that cup, this is a good trade off of that white algorithm, and you can see how we form that right here below that 559.78, and from there we go down to test the 5-day moving average right here. Now, like I was explaining at the beginning of the video, with the concept of the 5-day moving average, you can see that even though we get this flush below initially off of this head and shoulder, there is no continuation, and we remain once again above it and form this inverse head and shoulder back off of it, as well as grabbing this on the way up. Now, like I explained here, if you were still looking to short this to the downside, you needed to see that shoulder back below that 5-day moving average, maybe another inverse cup, and then that continuation, which never happened. And we also were never able to fully grab this shoulder right here and close that cup, maybe building this handle right here. You see that this was just never able to occur like that. Now from here, I explained the final structures into the end of the day would be looking for this head and shoulder right here, and ultimately if we could close this cup back to that 5-day moving average and then from there see the flush, which we never did. We did see us grab this liquidity off of that shoulder right here, but it was a very difficult trade, very choppy, and it was just not probably a good setup. Now going over what to be watching tomorrow, same thing, we must lose this 5-day moving average right here. And if that doesn't happen, well then why are you shorting it? Yes, you can take scalps, right? There are plenty of scalps right here, but you do not need to be loading the house on puts because there is no reason to. We also need to close this inverse cup at 557.37 and lose that level. This is a very important level, as you can see right here. Same thing with 560.77. So if we hold this 5-day moving average right here and we want to build something like this, well then we can start to see that continuation, and we would need to close this cup back to that 563 level, and from there, right, we can see this blue and yellow algorithm and start to see some continuation filling the cup at this 565 level right here, which we have yet been able to do. We continue to just get rejected up at 563. You can also see that we are struggling to break out of this white algorithm right here. We are confined within it, but we are just building liquidity. So until something changes and we do see continuation and aggressive buying or selling, well, we are probably just going to remain in this range right here, as we do have NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. But that being said, right, we can, if we close this 557.37, lose that. We will be looking for this right here. And then if we do see some form of a dump, I've explained this 553 level right here is going to be important. You can also see this right here. So if we do start to head down and close this larger inverse cup like that, now to the upside, we have plenty of liquidity as well if we do want to actually get the breakout of this. So if this 5-day moving average right holds this strong support, we see that cup, and from there we can see that continuation. But until we see strong buyers above this and an actual breakout, now here on the daily chart, we are still above that 5-day moving average and are looking for this upper Bollinger test, but we still have yet, right, like I said, to complete the cup at 565, and even then, if we do that, maybe we get a look below and fail, and we retest this 20-day moving average, building something like this before we get that continuation. But until this breaks right here, you see how it is holding. We cannot be looking for any downside, and we are still looking for some buyers to step in. So not much you can do here within this chop. There are still great scalps, but you have to understand what is going on right here, and you have to understand your two targets and how this can react off of them. With that being said, this will wrap up the video. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see members in the morning.